welcome everybody to our partner center stage. My name is Karsten Schragmann. I'm the head of product management at Vidispine, responsible for our VidiNet portfolio. This is the portfolio that consists of several products where we build media asset management or media supply chain solutions on. In our VidiNet context, also partnerships with our technical channel and also infrastructure partners play an essential role in our success. Therefore, we are keen to introduce our partners to you and show you in this format how our solutions and approaches work together and how our customers benefit from this collaboration. In today's episode, I am happy to introduce or say hello to Walter. He's the team lead of customer engagement from our close partner qibb. And he will also introduce himself and the company in a moment. And then later on during the webinar, you will find out more about the joint integrations that we have, use cases, and the partnership in general. Before we come to that, maybe over to you, Walter, to do a quick introduction.
Yeah, thank you very much, Karsten, for attending this webinar together. We have a long and proven track working as partners, and I'm very happy here today to engage on this specific use case and customer use case that we put together. And let me just maybe start by giving some words about qibb. So what is qibb? It's a product which has been spun out of a company called Quest. So we are a forward-thinking, decentralized startup based in Munich, Cologne, and in Halle, Leipzig. Personally, I'm living in Vienna and working from here in my role. Our focus really is on developing an integration platform with professional media applications and thereby also empowering media companies to achieve a greater flexibility, especially vendor agnostic solutions, and also a long-term cost effectiveness. Our ambition is on one side to revolutionize the media systems integration for the digital era. So we understand traditional integration methods no longer meet the ever-evolving needs in the industry. Our platform breaks down, therefore, the barriers by seamlessly integrating diverse media tools and technologies, and by eliminating silos and enabling collaboration. We believe that qibb empowers media professionals to concentrate on their core strength, which is creating exceptional content. And with that, I'm happy to hand back to Karsten, who will now show us together with me on our partnership model and how we are working together.
Yeah, thanks, Walter. Maybe some as an introduction, some words from our perspective about the partnership. I mean, as Vidispine already has a long-standing partnership with Quest, and Walter explained that qibb is some kind of spin-off of Quest. It was for us a natural step to also enter the partnership with qibb already a few years back. So this is already, let's say, a matured partnership. Also from a, I think, product perspective or portfolio perspective, I think this partnership brings a lot of value. I think we have a similar approach in what we are able to offer in terms of workflow management and the openness of our systems, how we can then also integrate to easily build customer solutions in the area of media asset management, production asset management, or also media supply chain. I think customers are really facing challenges in automating and also streamlining their media workflows in a timely manner and also easy to understand. And I think what's very important nowadays is also easy to adapt to changing and demanding market circumstances. And this is where we in our partnership, so Vidispine together with qibb, can bring a lot of value to the customer. Our integration with the qibb media platform is based on our products VD Core, VD Flow, and Media Portal. And with this integration, we already have several customer installations in place from the, let's say, media and entertainment industry in different sizes. And I think that's also very important here, that we are not showing something from a paper, let's say. Also, the use cases that we show to you as an example, these are, let's say, use cases from a real life scenario. Before we come to the details, maybe another quick overview from you, Walter, about the two solutions that we want to show here. We have prepared a small graphic for this, and maybe you can give an introduction on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before we jump into this, just maybe a few words also on some of the areas where we have been collaborating with Vidispine before. I can just give you some mom-centric examples, obviously Vidispine being one of the most flexible mom solutions. We have a lot of possibilities to enhance metadata, and I think that's one of the core areas where we really have seen a value add with qibb, whether that is through enriching metadata with AI or also transcribing assets with different solutions, like for instance AWS. But last but not least, a lot of the domains we are working together with Vidispine, and we brought in additional benefits is definitely around the ingest part. So whenever assets need to be uploaded through a simple or consolidated web portal, and you will see also here in the example moving forward the customer case how we manage that. So we have also kind of like a simple dashboard system which allows to upload ingest content directly to Vidispine as well. And last but not least, quality control is a big topic where we are passing on information to different systems, and again notifying Vidispine, for instance, or also directly via Slack teams about the progress and the achievement of a quality control that went through properly. So having said that, let me show you or talk a little bit about this use case. So in general, this was or is an American National Sports League customer. They did approach us a couple of months ago, and they came with a quite straightforward context and the requirements. So essentially, they are producing more than 270 games per season or matches, and they wanted us to help them to achieve the two following main goals. So on one side, they were looking for a solution to easily upload and ingest content as it's being produced in real time, quasi real time in the stadium directly to Vidispine. And the second thing was also then in more the post-processing to have an automation in place that allows to summarize, for instance, longer press conferences using generative AI. The solution components in which we are going to deep dive a little bit further is on one side Slack. So this is their communication tool. So they have deployed Slack client on their phones, and then they go and record short snippets, little interviews, or also sometimes longer interviews directly on the field to give this perception of being in the middle of the game. For that, again, Slack was the chosen and selected tool. Obviously, we are having Vidispine here in place, VD Core and the Media Portal, just to be sure, as a MUM system. And then for the generative AI, we have chosen together with the customer the OpenAI implementation on top of Azure with GPT-4. And we are also using some elements like rclone for file transfer, which allows to dock very different storage systems and then streamline the exchange of files across rclone between the different storage systems. So what's the solution in general, not just on qibb? From a qibb perspective, obviously, it's to provide this file uploads in Slack to enable this, and thereby also requesting metadata through a simple form. You will see that further down in our webinar, how this looks like from an end user perspective. The second part was then to ingest these assets with placeholders, including the file transfer from Slack to Vidispine directly. And the last part, which is structured around the second use case, is to have the Azure OpenAI integration with dedicated prompts and thereby enabling this summarization or summarizing the press conferences on demand. Overall, looking at the key project highlights, at first there was a clear request and requirement to use the integration with Vidispine. So this is already the system established at the customer. It's also an on-premises deployed system. So we have this possibility with qibb, irrespective of where a solution or a third-party application is located, to communicate over API with that solution, despite qibb being off-premises, meaning a SaaS solution at its core. We have obviously also provided an additional initial flow in a very short time. So here it's less than a week. That was very important also for the customer on one side to see, hey, what's the result going to look like, but at the same time also how quickly can we adapt and adjust requirements along the overall project timeline. So this is the agile sprint-based delivery model, which really worked well with the customer and also with Vidispine. And last but not least, this prompt engineering, which I'm pretty sure you have heard so much about it, and probably you have made your own experience here. This is something which we have applied, we have studied, and also we have become way more efficient, detailed in the queries of Gen AI tools when it comes to prompting. So this is the summary. Of course, we are always happy to give you more details, but obviously a lot of the details here will be seen in the remainder of this webinar. So without further ado, maybe back to our partner. I don't know if you want to add something or if everything is said already about this use case.
Yeah, I think you have summarized it very well, Walter. I think from our perspective, especially, let's say, from a portfolio view, it's a very exciting integration as we can combine here, let's say, our open API-based backend together with a productorized front end. So bringing in the best of these two worlds, being able to fastly do implementations and integrations with our partner with an API-based backend, and combining this then with a productorized front end that has already a variety of, let's say, customizing or configuration solutions. I think that's one of the main parts of these two integrations that we want to show. But with that, I would say, let's have a look into these two use cases in a bit more detail. And you already mentioned it, Walter, and that's something I would like to start with, is the press summary workflow. Here's an example where we've used a different sports where this press conference is recorded. And I mean, as you probably can imagine, press conferences, they can be pretty long and a lot of questions are asked, so a lot of text, a lot of timecode-based metadata is already created, and we have now established a workflow to really make use of this timecode-based metadata in a very efficient way. So we have this ChatGPT summary here, which you can see in more details. What we basically do is we send the prompt that you can see here to ChatGPT, and this is based on a transcription. And we want a 100-word summary together with some bullet points of the top 4 topics. And yeah, we will get the results from ChatGPT, and after a quick reload, this information then is displayed in a metadata field on the video. So immediately available for the user to do any further processing or further handling on this. And I think this saves the customer a lot of time, and is a very efficient way to get the most value out of the videos in that example of press conferences. But there are various other video formats where such a solution would make sense. Long recordings in certain sports, for example, that should be like summarized. I think there is a variety of additional use cases where this implementation would make sense. Let's have a look into, into the workflow in a bit more detail. As you can see here, there are several parties involved in this workflow. So of course, the user, the customer is triggering the workflow, and then we have the several parties connected that you can see here on the left side. And I will just briefly guide you through this from a workflow perspective. So there is a user sitting in front of Media Portal, triggering this summarization workflow. As already said, VD-Flow is also part of this integration. So Media Portal will trigger a VD-Flow item, and this, VD-Flow workflow, and this workflow triggers the qibb API for the summarization job. qibb, then you see this here, triggers the transcription summarization. For this, qibb requests, as we call it, segment list. So timecode or time-based transcription metadata that is reflecting in a certain field on VD Core. So there is an exchange between VD Core and the qibb API. Then the summarization job is started, handed over the transcript then to Azure and then to OpenAI, where this summarization job is executed. As a result, the summarized transcription metadata is received from OpenAI. And then qibb writes this summarization data to a predefined metadata field in VD Core. This is mapped then to a time-based transcription meta. And after a quick refresh, as you saw in the video, this information is then also displayed for the user in Media Portal. So as you can see, a lot of parties involved there, but I think what's important for the user, for him, it's just a click. So he does not see all the complexity behind. He does not need to take care about any file transcoding, file movement, metadata conversion. This is all handled in the back end, in the integration between our partner qibb and us. And yeah, he gets the information back quite fast. So that's a quick summary of the first summarization workflow. We have also a second one that we already mentioned, which is the Slack ingest. And for this, back to you, Walter.
Yeah, thanks, Karsten. So let me just walk you through the end user experience here. I'm going to show you now the Slack use case. So this is from an end user perspective. I will then show you also the actual workflow under the hood in terms of like explaining you the different steps. But what you can see here right now, so let me just start the little video. You have here our or a Slack channel. In that case, it is the software is installed on a PC. We have just uploaded now an asset So that could be a recording that you did on the field. And then as a next step, you have to enter the title, so some key metadata before you actually can send it or upload it. So we just have a description. That would be a little bit of a little summary of what this clip is about. And then once we submit it and switch back to Vidispine, to the media player, a media portal, then you will see here also when we do a refresh that under the hood, qibb has now ingested that asset into an S3 bucket and created the placeholder already. So you see the title. We can see at the moment there is no proxy available yet because this is being generated by Vidispine, but the description was already there. And then once the proxy has been created, obviously you will see the video as it came from the person on the field. So in that case, just, you know, the content that has been recorded. And this is essentially the total use case from an end user perspective. Again, when they are using it on the field, obviously they're using their smartphone with Slack client installed and push the recording directly from their phone with that additional metadata to Vidispine. Looking now a little bit more about the workflow. So we have several components. So let me just start here on the left side. Obviously on top we have the customer, and customer is uploading the video to Slack. And as I just showed you before, Slack then pushes that first to the Slack storage on its own. You see here we have in the stack, tech stack, we have also rclone, obviously AWS S3, Vidispine, local storage, and qibb. So qibb triggers is being triggered through a webhook by the Slack bot. Then we are returning that prompt user for additional information. So this input mask that we have seen. And then we are having a loop back into Slack, providing that metadata form. Slack will then display it and parse the metadata that we have been, or which has been entered by the user. Thereafter, we create this placeholder on Vidispine. You have seen that before as well. Once this is done, then we trigger the copy job to S3 ingest bucket. So essentially we move up that file from Slack via rclone into, or we trigger via rclone the file export from Slack. And eventually it will arrive to the ingest storage, so the watch folder from Vidispine, where Vidispine picks the file up, associates it obviously with the placeholder. So that's this start ingest workflow in Vidispine, and then moves the file from the S3 to the local storage. Remind yourself, initially we said that this Vidispine installation is on-prem, so we need to move therefore also that file locally, which is then copied here to an Isilon system, and then transcoding obviously will start, the proxy file generation will be done. And last but not least, Vidispine will provide the job status to qibb endpoint when the workflow is completed. So before, the example was a little bit oversimplified by triggering a refresh of the media portal on Vidispine, but in reality, this is working under the hood through some status messages back from Vidispine to qibb. And then finally, we provide that job status and the Vidispine link to the item in media portal as a Slack response. So that is something which you haven't seen as well, but the user has the possibility also directly to check, hey, what has been uploaded. And yeah, so this is done through this provide metadata form in Slack. So it's becoming visible for the end user. All right, that is my summary here on this part. I think we can now proceed to the next step.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Walter. I think you already mentioned in the beginning that with this collaboration, with this partnership, I think there is a bigger variety of additional use cases that we can also see potential there. I think you already mentioned some of them, such as ingest, QC, but also everything around metadata, or even more specific, time code based metadata. And I think especially with looking into the broader usage of AI services, I think that's really key for the customers to get the most value of their content and the most value of their metadata that they have in their system, that they need automated workflow engines that support there. So I think
exactly, that's very important, that this automation under the hood, though not visible for the end user, is of course fully working. And I just want to emphasize again that with partners like Vidispine and their products, we have this great set of APIs which we can use. And Vidispine, I think, has some probably 400 or 500 API operations we can execute as part of the workflow automation. And yes, essentially, whatever is coming from Vidispine in terms of API operations can be implemented with qibb through a automized workflow. So possibilities are sheer endless. And I think here also we are always super keen to hear from our customers what exactly are their specific needs, and then discuss that together with them, and in combination obviously with Vidispine, and come up with great solutions and workflows to mitigate, for instance, manual processes as they often still exist today.
And I think especially to meet these requirements from the customer with the joint solution, also the partnership is essential. And as we both said in the beginning, we know each other for a very long time. We have done a lot of projects together, either with Quest or now also with qibb. So I think that's a very solid basis where we can approach then also more customers together in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's mainly it for today. So if there are, of course, any questions or any ideas that come up when you see this, both Walter and also myself, we are very happy to get in contact with you. Contact us directly or via your responsive sales manager or account manager. I think there are various ways. And we would be happy to get in contact with you and discuss your requirements and see how we can together offer you a solution for this.
Yeah, perfect. So Karsten, just a final word. Obviously, as this webinar is happening before NAB, we are also very excited to welcome you at our respective booths. So both of our companies are present at NAB, and happy to take the discussion with you straight at NAB. If you're not there, we have obviously our other possibilities to get in contact with us. We will share our contact details at the end of this webinar as well.
Okay, yeah, then it's up to me saying thank you to you, Walter, for joining us here in this center stage. It was a lot of fun preparing this together with you, and looking forward for the next one. Thank you, Walter. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.